kites. I pick a break the day I wake up. I'm like a little punk, I gotta chase away. Pop the grade, the like the little shit while I walk down the hallway. Hey, y'all, good morning.
Ice cold Piragua, Bacha, Gina, Strawberry.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael Balderrama. I'm the dance captain, fight captain, and swing in the show. I cover all the male ensemble. I cover Graffiti Pete, I cover the Piragua guy, and I cover Lynn, who plays Usnavi, the lead in the show. The definition of a dance captain is the person who is in charge of keeping the specifics and the details of choreography and staging in a show consistent. They're also responsible for teaching and getting ready any new people or understudies that need to be brought into the show.
And as a swing?
And as a swing, they have to learn separate parts of different people that they're covering or actually learning tracks within the show so that if anybody misses, is ill, is injured, they can be ready to go on at a moment's notice.
Nice.
Well, there are certain sacrifices to make, but there is a matter of there very rarely being quite enough time. So within that, you definitely make sacrifices, but at the same time, in order to maintain your sanity and your well-being within this business, you come to realize there are times where you simply have to make the sacrifice to make sure you maintain a personal life, because without it, you're not going to actually be doing anything good or positive within your work because it'll overload you.
Nice. How do you get to a position like that? I mean, is there any sort of training you get when you go to dance school that allows you to become a swing?
It depends. I mean, there's very, very different paths. Just like in any part of your life, there are different paths to the same destinations. And depending on what kind of training you might have had, depending on what your forte was, there is the possibility that you can have some of the training instilled in you during your dance training or whatnot. A lot of the training that you get and a lot of the experience that you need comes from actual day-to-day experience within the business. You pay attention to the dance captains that you've worked under before, you pay attention to the choreographers, and each dance captain within each show sort of had different demands on them. Some shows aren't quite as choreographically difficult, but it's very difficult to maintain a consistent cast, so you're constantly teaching new people. Other shows, the cast pretty much stays the same, but the choreography isn't as specific, so it's very difficult to maintain the integrity of the steps. Beyond that, there's very different aspects that a dance captain can end up becoming involved in once a show has been set and run, which is being involved in the setting of new versions of it, which hopefully will become something that I get involved in the dance.
So then, that being said, and the risk of having a lot of new people coming in and out, how often are you on stage?
For myself, for this show, actually, it's sort of a double-edged sword because it's a blessing and difficult at the same time. I've been on stage for most of the run. It makes maintaining the show a little more difficult because I don't get a chance to sit down and watch the show.
How does your passion for art begin?
My cousins, all of my uncles, my father are bass players, trumpet players, and they've been doing music all my life, so I grew up around that. And my father always encouraged it. On the other side of that, my mother always sort of wanted me to realize that it probably wasn't going to be something that consistently was my mainstay, and I need to find something more consistent.
Right.
There was an audition that came through town that was just looking for dancers auditioning, and I wasn't quite sure what it was for, and I went in to audition anyway, ended up getting the job, and it turned out the job was to do Saturday Night Fever on Broadway.
In a way, you were then one of the lucky ones, in the sense of you got to the city with a job.
Right.
And not only a job, but a job on Broadway.
Right, exactly, absolutely. And at that point, it was really interesting because I always thought of New York, but it had never been a goal or a possibility even that I thought of to come to New York. It wasn't anything that I was striving to do. And then it was also in a time where there was a quote-unquote real push for the ethnic look within show business. You know, there were a lot of Latinos in the movies. Yeah, the Latinos that were finally just starting within television and film, starting to break out of the mold for what was always needed as far as a Latino performer. And I realized that that was an opportunity also for us within the musical theater side and within New York. There's a big difference in this business. It's great to have big dreams, and I will maintain the fact that as someone who's, I consider a little bit older in this business now, that I always will maintain a consistent grasp on my youth and my childish side, which means I maintain my dreams, but at the same time, my experiences and the time spent within this business also allows me to keep a realistic look on those dreams that I have, which drives me to work a little harder as opposed to hope simply and see what the outcome. But the only obstacle that I've really found that ever consistently gets in my way, to be honest, is myself. I'm easily distracted, I'm easily entertained beyond what my goals and focus might be, and so within that I can become my own worst enemy because I allow myself to not continue to drive towards my goal and almost allow my dreams and hopes to be their own entity and simply rely on them carrying me as opposed to me working towards reaching. The thing is, you start to realize that within this world, and especially within this community of show business and whatnot, you should be able to connect with people and create relationships with people that are fulfilling and consistently maintained is the thing that's going to create longevity and create new opportunities for yourself, as well as within your community of friends. Now, as I've gotten older, I've realized that one of the aspects that I really find important to me is the opportunity to lend a hand or do anything possible to other young Latin artists that could use the help, that might be able to put something into the world that they wouldn't if they didn't have a helping hand. This is information that doesn't necessarily mean I have to follow, but information is always positive, and the more you get, the more you'll be able to accomplish sooner. Stay focused and maintain our course. For me, R.Evolución Latina is an opportunity, is a twofold opportunity. One is to really put out a positive direction for any Latino, whether it be within the arts, within business, within our community here, whether it be my community back in Illinois, my community in Texas. It's the opportunity to sort of connect as many of us as possible that really feel like our entire culture can be improved by simply a positive direction, because I really believe that nobody can be completely as fulfilled as when they are able to help others. Because if we manage to be able to maintain that idea of always being fulfilled personally by helping others, it's going to be paid forward, and we're always going to be moving forward, and it's always going to be in a positive direction.
Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Papa.
Let's eat.
This is a day in the life of what it's like.
Absolutely. Hey, you got to stay healthy.